G'day, here's another couple of Fermzilla hints and tips. These can be used with a fermentosaurus as well. The first one is a continuation on from one of my other videos about enclosed transfer. This is how you can do an enclosed transfer without using a gas bottle at all. I'll explain it more in the video, but essentially it works via siphon and gravity. So I'll have a quick look at that. G'day, this is just a follow-up on my enclosed transfer video. I was in a grain and grape one day and I saw them doing it, something like this, and I went, oh yeah, why didn't I put that in? So it's using gravity. My keg is flushed. I filled it up, this time I filled it up with star sand and pushed the star sand out. My fermenter here, it has to be higher so you can get like a siphon and get gravity to do the job for you. As I said, this keg is totally full of CO2 and got a little bit of pressure in it. Not much, it's only about 4 psi, something like that. And this has got about the same on it. Now some people say to pressurise one more than the other. I've been mucking around, I didn't want to pull this out of the fridge and move it because it, you know, shakes things up, and it was nice, and it is a cloudy beer. It has been cold crashing for a couple of days, but I just still didn't want to stir. There's still a bit of yeast on the side here, like happens, and quite a lot of dry hop. I only need 18 litres in these 19 litre kegs, so I only have to go down to about there. I might pull in a little bit of yeast at the bottom there, but that doesn't worry. Anyway, let's just get straight to it. So I have 2 leads here, a gas to gas, and that hose has been purged of oxygen. I have a beer to beer, and again, that was used to transfer the star sand from one keg to the other and flushed with CO2. I think there's no point in going to all this trouble if you're going to leave your hoses full of oxygen. So it's just something to think about. Just take the gas line up to the keg, the gas side, and the gas side, make sure you get the gas side of your fermenter. The beer line. And your keg. Now we haven't got anything flowing, it's all equalised by the looks of it. I'm just going to let a little bit out of the keg. I don't know if you can see then, it's starting to flow. We are moving, it's very slow compared to some of my other methods, but we are moving, we are dropping. The siphon is working. So the theory of this is you got the CO2 from your keg going into the top as the beer's running down through siphon, and you can push it with a little pressure if you have a play around, but mine at the moment it's going through siphon down to the bottom of the keg, and as long as you have your keg lower than your fermenter, it should keep going. We'll come back in a little while, see how it's travelling. Here's another little tip. Now I was just doing it then, so it's probably going to be a little bit hard to see, but I know I've only got to go down to 4 litres. I started at 22 litres, so I'm going down to 4 for this keg, and I could see there was a little bit of yeast and maybe some hop there where my pickup tube's going to go. So if you just tap gently on the side sometimes like that, you might not be able to see, but it's just dropping down a little bit, and I've just about cleared the path to 4 litres where I want this, where my pickup tube's going to go. And you can actually start doing this when you're cold crashing. I didn't bother today, obviously, but when you've got it in the fridge and you start cold crashing, because it's all CO2 in here, it doesn't matter if you give it a swirl. You can pick it up and shake it if you wanted to, because it's all CO2. But I wouldn't advise that. But there's nothing wrong with giving it a shake around to get this stuff to drop down. But you can see it's going, it's very slow. I don't know how long it's been. It's been a while. We've only got, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4 litres to go. And I don't know if you can pick that up on the keg. I can see condensation onto it about here. Another tip, that tapping is handy if you see sometimes you see the float or the pickup tube sort of starting, once you get down the bottom, it happens in the Fermentosaurus too, it can start sort of getting stuck on the side. And so you can give it a little bit of a tap or a little bit of a shake, and that'll just get it off the side, and you'll be right. Oh, the pickup tube's going to go right, hopefully right in that little valley there where I've knocked some of the gunk down. I am picking up a little bit. That's a bit unavoidable. Well, it is when you've got this much junk and hops and stuff in a brew like this. You can see I didn't quite estimate how far the pickup tube was going to come down, so I'm picking up a little bit of yeast. Well, that's my 18. I could probably stop there. And actually, I think I will. It's good to have a bit of headspace in kegs. You'll find they carb better, or quicker and better. So that's about it. I've gone over 18 litres. I'm going to stop it there. But there you go. That was totally transferred without putting any more CO2 in here. It was only just used from the CO2 from flushing the keg. Now by rights, if you were careful, you could flush the keg with the CO2 out of this during the ferment. And if your keg hasn't got any leaks, which it shouldn't have, that should be able to hold the pressure in there. And then you'd put your keg somewhere, leave it pressurised, and then at the end of your ferment, come back and transfer it again. Transfer it without using the bottle at all. It's a little bit slow. I find the other method's faster. But with a bit of practice, you might get it down pat. Cheers. Now, there has been a lot of people that tell me to really up the pressure in one of the vessels. I've been told up it in the keg and up it in the Fermzilla or Fermentosaurus. I've found that you might get an instant burst, but the pressure levels out and evens out pretty fast. As you'd imagine, it's the gas and gas side are connected together and the pressure just levels out. Now the second hints and tips video here is I brewed my test lager, you might have seen me speak about in another video, and I brewed another lager straight away afterwards. I wanted to use the yeast collection jar. I thought of taking it off and then cleaning it up and, putting the lid on the collection jar, putting it in the fridge, clean up the fermenter, put my new batch of lager in and put the collection jar back on. And then in the end I thought that's a lot of work, and it gets messy, as you know, because I've been fermenting under pressure, and when you take the jar off, the yeast usually foams up. The first lager I brewed to propagate the yeast was very clean. There was no dry hop or anything like that. So what I thought I'd do is leave the collection jar on there, shut the valve, clean up the Fermentosaurus, put the new beer in, open it up, and there you go. These beers were very clean. There was no dry hopping in the first beer, so there was nothing like that to worry about. So I didn't really speak during this video, and I might speed a few little bits up, but here we go, and you can see how I did it. This may look a little weird, but I've just taped up the yeast container. I just thought I'm not going to bother taking it off, but I want to take it outside and give the top a wash, and I just don't want sun on it. I'm very sensitive to sun skunked beers, and I don't even want the littlest bit in there. So I've taped it up, and I'm going to clean the rest. I've put the glove on because I just sliced my finger open somehow, and I've taped it up, and I'm trying not to get it wet. Oh no, you're not allowed to. We're doing a video. You're not allowed to do a video. That method was very simple. It probably took 10 to 15 minutes all up to do, and I'd do it again at the drop of a hat. The second lager now is fermenting, and it went really fast. It's been in there about a week, and we're just about at terminal gravity. I started at 12, and then I checked gravity, and we're about 1.020, so I thought it's time to start bumping it up, and I've gone 2 degrees a day up. We're at 18 now, and it's been a week, and it's just about done fermenting. I'll still leave it in there a few more days just to clean up and get that good diacetyl rest. There'll be more hints and tips videos coming up. I was just requested to do the video about the transfer without using a gas tank via gravity and siphon, so I thought I'd get this up nice and quick. Cheers. This is just a simple pale ale. It's very clear. That's because I didn't dry hop it. I'm doing some experiments without dry hopping. I'm a massive dry hop fan. And some of my friends are saying it's not needed, but this is still a great beer, but it would have been better with a dry hop. But it looks beautiful. And all the lagers I'm doing now aren't getting dry hopped either. I'm dry hop free for a little while. Anyway, cheers.